Hey guys, welcome back to the X-Ring, and on today's episode what I'd like to do is talk about scope mounting and some of the tools that I use in order to get one mounted properly. Now this is a friend of mine's rifle. He wanted me to check some things over, and I noticed some things right off the bat that I was like, yeah, I'll take a look at it. But one of the gear reviews I wanted to do is on something called a Borka Tools. It's name of the company, B-O-R-K-A. I've had this one for a long time. You never find me without it. I've probably had this for 10 plus years or so. I don't know when it was actually invented. But the way it works is, and I'm going to come in a little closer so you guys can see this, is if you look on here, you might see some numbers. Try to focus in on that. Yeah, so you'll see 15 here, and it goes 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. If you flip it over, now you've got 36, 43, 50, 57, 65, and 72. And what that is those are inch-pound ratings, okay? So inch-pound measurements, basically. So if I needed 15 inch-pounds to check these rings, because the manufacturer for these rings called for 15 to 18 inch-pounds, what I'm going to do is find the correct nut driver for it, and then I'm going to find that 15, and I can read 15 here, so I'm going to insert it, and then I'm going to put the cap on the top just like that. The way I'm going to hold this is this rests in the palm of the hand, okay, the center of the hand, and the other side, just the thumb index is here. And what happens is whenever you reach that 15 inch-pounds, this will break over like that. That's a resetting, okay? Now if we were on the other side, which that's actually going to be 30 inch-pounds, it takes a lot more force to break that over. So it's basically got two sets for one side and one for the other, and then where it is on this determines the leverage. So if I were checking, let's say, the torque on this scope ring, I'm going to start to turn. You see that it's loose, it's not even at 15, and then it will break over, just like that. And then I'll go opposite and opposed, different corner, and you just do this. Try to think of it as whenever you're tightening lug nuts, you never go in a circle, so you don't want to just do one side or the other, and that's exactly what's happened on this rifle. When he brought it to me, one of the things I noticed, another piece of my kit that I always keep is a set of feeler gauges. Okay, so you can get these anywhere. You can get these at AutoZone or Advance or anything like that, but I'll take, let's say, the thinnest one I've got here. I can't insert it here. He's bottomed out on this side. So actually this one right here is not. This one's loose, this one's bottomed out. But if I flip this back over, what you're gonna see is this, what I consider a huge gap here. We'll go with, let's see that? I can insert it in, no problem, and that's actually a pretty thick feeler gauge there. So I don't like to have one side bottomed out and the other side with a lot of threads, because I don't think it's pulling on it properly. So what I try to do is equal it out with the feeler gauges and pull them down equally whenever I'm mounting a scope. So that's what I'll do, and I'll go through that. The other thing is I've got a lot of Weehas and things like that from being around a machine shop. They make really, really great equipment. It comes from Germany. And I've checked it against the Borka Tool, and it's been spot on. So calibration is not an issue there. The problem that I have with the Weehas is, you can get some of those that are adjustable, but the range is too small. I mean, those are really precise tools. So I've got one that goes from like 16 inch-pounds to 25 inch-pounds. The problem is when you're trying to tighten your bases on, these are usually 60 to 65. Sometimes, some manufacturers do like 40. You just got to know what manufacturer recommendations are on that. But I can easily go from that 15, and let's say now I needed to go to 65 for the base. I've just switched it to the 65. I'll put my 1/2 inch driver on there. This is going to take a lot of force, but basically, before I go any further, think about recoil, folks. Whenever you fire a rifle, the rifle goes rearwards. The scope's trying to go forwards. So you see that play in there? I always go ahead and set my scope forwards. That way the recoil is not affecting it. I'll tighten these up by hand. Everything's already been leveled. I'll go ahead and kind of snug them up, just kind of a little bit of a pre-torque like this. And then now when I want to set it for that 65, I'm just going to take it, rotate till it breaks over. I'll do the same thing here, rotate till it breaks over. So I know that both of these are set at 65 inch-pounds. The other thing you need to be aware of, some people ask me, well, do you use Loctite or not on your rings? I don't. I used to all the time, and I had a manufacturer that I called on something one time, and they were like, no, do not use any type of Loctite, because of course that adds lubrication, and now you're doing wet torquing as opposed to dry torquing. And so maybe if you're trying to do 18 inch-pounds, then all of a sudden you put a bunch of lubrication in there, because believe it or not, anything, even water is going to be lubrication. When you're trying to torque, now all of a sudden you're getting 24, 25, 26 inch-pounds, and they were like, nah, don't do that. Dry torquing is sufficient enough. So like I said, and that was directly from the mouth of a manufacturer. So these are some of the tools I use. They have a lot of different acronyms when you go on their website. I think if you order something through Borka Tools, you have to go through a company called Shooters Tools, and they have ATDs, PTDs, MTDs, all these different things. I think ATD is adjustable torque driver. So make sure you're getting the right one, because there's a lot of different variations. Mine came in a kit like this. It was a tab gear bag, and it comes with a bunch of different tools that you're going to need for different rings, different bases, things like that. I've added some hemostats in here and some other Allens and Torxes, but I always have this kit with me. It works out really, really well, especially when I need to verify something, because if you shoot something long enough, over time things start to loosen up, especially like on, let's say, scope caps that lock these down for zeroing out your turrets or whatever, or resetting your turrets. Those do have a tendency to loosen up over time, as well as sometimes your rings. So I always check that, especially stuff in the stock area. Those always seem to loosen up quite a bit. So hopefully you've enjoyed the review. Hopefully you've learned a little something about it. If you like this channel, like, share, and subscribe. We hope to see you soon. Have a great evening.